Babies. They're fun, they're funny, they're adorable, and I'm here to tell you that they're also awesome. Now, every parent thinks their own baby is awesome, but are all babies awesome? Well, I'm a developmental psychologist and I've spent 15 years studying how it is babies learn about the world, and I can confirm that yes, all babies are awesome. So I'm Dr. Caspar Addyman, I'm director of Goldsmiths Infant Lab, and I've just spent the last 2 years writing this book, The Laughing Baby, all about what babies learn in those first 2 years. So I'm here with 6 superpowers that we gain from being babies. Number 1, a great start in life. So the first 2 years of your life were probably the best years of your life. Sorry to break it to you. And I don't just mean all the naps, being carried around everywhere, everyone being pleased to see you and being charmed by your charisma, although those are important. But I mean that in those 2 years you learn more than at any other point in your life, and you learn the most important things in your life, the foundations for everything that came next. Even more amazingly, you had an incredibly good time doing it. You had a wonderful, joyful experience discovering new things every single day. And that is not to be underestimated. The early start of a human life is quite different from any other animals. We have a very extended infancy, and it's for a very good reason. We have a lot more to learn, and as a species we have decided not to hard code everything into instincts and behaviour, but to learn everything from scratch every single time. This makes us incredibly adaptable, and it also means we have to take a long period of infancy to learn all those skills. Which brings us to point number 2. Number 2, a big brain. So to learn all those skills we need a big brain, and humans come with the largest brain relative to their body size of any animal in the world. And that comes with a problem, because you can't be born with that big brain. And again, it's something we have babies to thank for. So the human brain doubles in size in the first 2 years outside the womb. Development of the brain carries on in those first few years of life. This is why babies are so helpless for the first few months. They really ought to still be inside the womb, but that wouldn't be physically possible, so we give them birth to them early, and this gives us big brains. This actually also leads to a strange feedback loop, which leads us to all being cleverer. Researchers Celeste Kidd and Steve Piandosi discovered that if you're going to give birth to helpless babies, they're going to need more care. And so that's going to require parents to have a bigger brain, creating a positive feedback loop, which led to us all being more intelligent. Number 3, a long life. It might seem strange that being a baby is something that's responsible for our long life and old age, but actually this seems to be the case. Anthropologist Kristin Hawkes has put forward something called the grandmother hypothesis, which observes that humans are one of the few species to invest in their children's children, their grandchildren. And this brings with it an evolutionary pressure for us to have long lives. The reasoning works like this, that as you get older you could invest in further offspring of your own, or your genes could be passed on by ensuring that your children's children survive to adulthood. And with human children being so helpless and it being such a labour-intensive process to raise them, it seems to have been a better strategy to invest in our grandchildren, which in turn selects for genes for people who are going to live longer and leads to old age. Number 4, science. Now, I'm a baby scientist, so I'm perhaps a bit biased when I say that babies are like little scientists. Although perhaps I'm looking at it from the wrong end of the microscope. Psychologist Alison Gopnik thinks that perhaps it's better to say that scientists are big children, because all of the skills involved with science are actually things that grow out of the curiosity that we have in childhood. The ability to teach yourself through a process of trial and error, to discover laws in the world, to understand the causal processes behind things that we see. These are all completely key skills that a baby and a young child must learn in order to understand things. And very importantly, these are things that they have to teach themselves. In our ancestral times, adults would have been busy with things like hunting and gathering, so wouldn't really been able to give children some direct instruction, and also wouldn't necessarily have known what to instruct them on. A lot of skills in life are like riding a bike. It's only things you can learn by teaching yourself. And the skills required to do that are very similar to the skills that are involved in the processes of science. Number 5, art. What is art? Well, at some level, it's when we deliberately set out to convey a feeling or emotion to another person. And unlike having an argument or falling in love or sharing a joke, it sets apart from the actual feeling itself and is done deliberately through some medium in a repeatable fashion, be that through a song, a painting, or a piece of dance. And remarkably, one theory suggests that the very first time this ever happened was not through cave people painting on the walls of caves to celebrate their hunts, but actually a primitive mother trying to convey emotions to her baby, perhaps through form of lullaby. This is a theory put forward by anthropologist Ellen Dissanyanki. Number 6, happiness. So we've already said that the first 2 years of your life are probably the happiest time in your life, and we shouldn't be too dismissive of that fact, because the scientific research about what makes us happy suggests that babies already knew a lot of the answers and we've just simply forgotten them. Science comes up with 2 big main things that contribute towards happiness. The first of those is something called getting into a flow state. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi has identified this as one of the key predictors of adult happiness, your ability to get very focused on what you're doing, to get wrapped up in learning new skills and learning new abilities. Things which babies just do every single day of their lives, and which perhaps as a result we see in their happiness. The second absolutely key thing to happiness is good, strong, authentic relationships. You need to care about people and feel that they care back about you, and you have to be genuine in your interactions with them. If you have a network of people where you feel a sense of love and belonging, then you will feel better about yourself. And again, if we look towards babies, this is what we see. The third and final secret of happiness comes from meditation and mindfulness, where the entire goal of sitting for hours and hours on end, focused on your breathing, is to get yourself into the present moment. The more in touch you are with what's happening right in front of you right at this moment, the more engaged with the world you'll be, the happier you'll be. This again is something that babies seem to do just quite naturally. So there we are, 6 superpowers we gain by being babies. So thank you for watching, and remember you can find out more of that in my book. And thank you to 50 Things to Do Before You're 5 for asking me to create this video in the first place. And you can see a link to that in the notes below. Thank you.